Hello, and welcome to the first edition of the new and retooled JKB and J Podcast. As the Philadelphia Eagles do every year, we have decided to essentially change everything about us in an effort to go from somewhat terrible to somewhat passable. We'll probably fail. We don't know. But for the time being, This is the new name of the podcast. Today we got a few brilliant things to talk about, and also I think we got everyone here today, which is a nice surprise. We have.
Yes, we do.
Let's go around and hear from everyone since it's the first episode of the new and improved podcast.
Start off with me. Hi, I'm Jason.
I'm Jake. It's good to be back, guys.
I'm Billy the B. What up?
Yeah, in case you're wondering, that wasn't Billy's mic malfunction. It's actually how he sounds. It's going to be a fun feature of this podcast.
His Great Marine Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the Navy's Wi-Fi system apparently is truly horrendous. So when you hear support our troops next time, you should really be saying support our troops Wi-Fi because it's the true problem in our military.
Maybe that's why they want to increase funding.
Chill. Let's go. Let's move on.
Anyway, let's get into the football part of this. So since we tend to trend towards Eagles fans, I think we're going to start for a little bit with the news of the Dorial Green-Beckham trade with the Eagles. And I think there will be some strong opinions here. I'll let someone else. Jason? Let's start with you.
I love this trade. I do love this trade. And the main reason I love this trade is because we got rid of Dennis Kelly. That's number one. Might be the worst offensive lineman I've ever seen. And instead of cutting him, we traded him for a receiver with potential. Love his size, his speed, and he was very productive in college and had a decent year towards the end of the year at the Titans. So very excited about that. He's not playing on Thursday, which is tomorrow. But maybe by game 3, he'll be ready to play, and we'll see what he can do in our offense.
Yeah, and like I wrote in my article, I'm shamelessly self-promoting myself right now. But no, I'm kidding. But anyway, Dennis Kelly is one of like the worst offensive linemen I've ever seen in my life. Like he just simply is absolutely terrible. And to actually get someone of value for him is amazing. Like DGB
and a young wide receiver, second-round pick last season. Who I wanted the Eagles to draft him over Aguilar.
Me too. Like I remember this. Me, you, and Billy all did. But 6'5", 240, runs a 4.49 40. And it's two starts the end of the year, he had 100-yard receiving games with 5 touchdowns over the course of the year. Like he showed flashes.
Okay.
Dennis Kelly, no potential. But
I may not have the exact same take, but let's hear from Billy, who might have a more objective view, so more outsider.
I'm not even an Eagles fan, and if you could put me in the mind of the Tennessee Titans, I want to know what on earth they were thinking. This is a second-round pick coming off a rookie year, and you trade it for this guy who I could be a better NFL lineman than, and I'm 158 pounds. What were they thinking? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand.
Can you imagine? No, you go, Bill. My bad.
It just doesn't make sense. And Kyle would like to somehow justify this wild decision by Tennessee. I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm not going to justify this decision because if I were a GM, this is exactly the type of trade I would do if I were the Eagles, but it's also the exact type of trade I'd get fired for as a GM. Not specifically this, but I'd trade for every guy like Dorial Green-Beckham. And the problem with guys like Dorial Green-Beckham is that they're really fun in theory and their potential sounds really great in theory, and then you just get really sad because 99% of the time they're head cases who never get their act together. And the problem for the Eagles, or as an Eagles fan, we're going to watch Josh Huff and Dorial Green-Beckham on the same team. And that is going to be the most maddening, experience. Because they both could be so good. But
Josh Huff.
What?
No, I keep cutting people off, my bad.
It's I'm excited about this trade, but it's going to end up being disappointing. Because, yes, it's a win. Dennis Kelly's horrendous. Giving him up for anything of even potential value is good. But this is just going to be something that builds you up and then makes you sad in the end. Yes, Bill?
What I don't understand is I don't even think the trade has potential to be disappointing. If this doesn't work out, if this does not say DGB ends up being the worst player we've ever seen in history, doesn't even matter. You gave up practically nothing for him.
We basically got him for free. I agree with that.
The potential, a second-round pick coming off a rookie season, big, fast. Where's the potential for disappointment when the expectations aren't really that high? You got him for Dennis Kelly.
But that's the thing. It's a good move. But in terms of, for Eagles fans' emotions, it's just going to lead to frustration and anger. If we kept Dennis Kelly, I accept he will be horrendous. With Dorial Green-Beckham, there will be Beckham. There will be flickers of hope intermixed with long swaths of despair.
Well, one stat that like scared me about him was, I think he had 30. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Was it 37 catches?
I think. I could be wrong.
No, it was less than that. I think it was
34, 32, something like that.
Yeah. But he was targeted like 65 times. Now, that could be a bunch of different things. I didn't see a drop statistic, but if you're targeted and, I mean, you only haul in half the balls that are thrown your way, I mean, that's a little concerning. I know Mettenberger played a decent portion of the season because Mariota was in and out of the lineup. Towards the end, he was out for the rest of the season with that knee injury, but a little concerning there. That would be the only thing that scares me. But again, we go back to we got him for free basically. Dennis Kelly is terrible.
I actually want to stand up for Beckham on that stat. Yeah, he only caught a little under half his targets, but he averaged 17 or 18 yards a catch.
17.3.
He was used. What?
17.3.
Right, so he was used as a deep threat. Like, if you're averaging that many yards per catch, that means per attempt to him, he essentially averaged like 9 yards per attempt, 8.5 yards per attempt, which is actually pretty efficient for receiving. So in terms of how he was used, I don't think that's a huge negative. I'm afraid he's going to be a head case and make us all sad.
Yeah, that could happen. Can you imagine DeMarco Murray right now in Tennessee?
Oh,
got away from
no, not Dennis Kelly.
Now he's back.
Okay, let's move on from Dorial Green-Beckham. Let's you guys want to talk about some rookie quarterbacks?
I would love
Carson
to.
Wentz, bring it on.
It's a topic that will never get old. Let's start with Jared Goff, actually, because we don't want to go back to that Eagles. Jared Goff. Who wants to say anything about Jared Goff? Jason.
Well, I think very similar to Carson Wentz, his numbers didn't really show how he played. I think he was, 3 of 8?
4 of 9.
4 of 9 it was. He was 4 of 9.
38 yards, I think.
38 yards and a pick. That sounds terrible. But if you watch the game, I don't think he was that bad. He got ripped by John Gruden and whatnot. And I watched the game live. I'm pretty sure they were ripping him. People were saying he didn't really play that well. He had a huge drop during that 2-minute draw, like 25 yards down the field over the middle to Pharaoh Cooper. He got hit, but like he should have caught that ball. His numbers would have been completely different. They would have scored a touchdown on that drive too. Instead, after the drop, he ends up getting sacked, and I think they had to punt. So his numbers could have been way better than that if that ball was caught also. And his interception, he was crushed while he was letting the ball go, and it kind of like just went straight up in the air and got picked off by the linebacker. So his numbers, very similar to Wentz, didn't show how he played, in my opinion. I thought he looked a lot better than the numbers showed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree, but I think we're not really talking about the right things here when we talk about the Rams. I think the more important thing is the fact that since they're on Hard Knocks, we have learned that Jeff Fisher is like the perfect embodiment of like a full person. Like, I've never seen someone whose voice so perfectly matches their appearance.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about. Jeff Fisher's like cool as hell. He's just a cool dude. Like, I would love to play for Jeff Fisher if I was a football player.
Okay, and I also need you to listen to this Jeff Fisher clip because it's just so batshit crazy. And then we can move back to Jared Goff because this is very important.
Play it.
Any minute, Kyle.
We may be experiencing difficulties here.
Bill, you're experiencing technical difficulties. Your mic is like the Terminator or something.
Oh, I am a technical difficulty.
So did we get that?
We did not get it, so no. I guess that's not going to be a part of the part of the podcast.
Did that not
today.
come through?
No,
nah.
we didn't get that.
If you don't worry about that clip,
are we just going to cut that part out, or we have to?
Let's just keep going.
Sorry,
we're good.
That clip was pretty amazing. If it would have played, I should have planned that ahead of time.
Paraphrase it.
Okay. Okay, so getting back to Jared Goff, William Hayes, according to Jeff Fisher.
Oh, the mermaid thing?
But yes,
yeah.
I believe the actual quote was that
I heard this.
William Hayes believes and is totally convinced that mermaids are a thing and do exist, and was happy that the Rams were moving from St. Louis to LA because he could be closer to mermaids.
And also, like, didn't he say dinosaurs didn't exist too? Right?
He tried saying that dinosaurs never walked the earth, but he believes in mermaids.
And also, Jeff Goff to pivot back to Jared
Goff.
Jesus,
I'm
this is
just
going
joking,
off
man.
the
It's
rails.
fine.
To pivot back to Jared Goff, he doesn't know which direction the sun rises, east or west. He just learned that. So anyway, his quarterbacking skills are much better than his geography skills.
Well, if you want me to be completely honest with you, if you asked me that question before I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, I probably couldn't have answered that either.
Dude, what? How many mornings and nights have you been here?
I don't really pay attention to where the sun rises or sets, if you want me to be brutally
Jason,
honest.
you're always out fishing early in the morning. You never
I
thought
am.
to
I am. I
look
never,
at what way it was rising? No.
never noticed it. Mm-mm.
Jason, you can play quarterback for the Rams.
I could.
Okay, so Jared Goff's performance.
If I had to
Anyone?
grade, if I had to give it a letter grade, I mean, I'd give it a B minus, or maybe a C plus.
I'd say C plus.
Yeah, C plus.
He didn't he looked all right, but he didn't do anything to really
If that
show.
ball got completed over the
thought it was
middle of
impressive.
Pharaoh Cooper, we would, everyone would have a different view on how he played.
He double dropped. He was protected a lot better than Wentz. I will give that to Wentz versus Goff. He was protected much better.
Yeah, I would agree. Wentz is actually probably going to be a more interesting conversation just because
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever seen a game where someone's
I wouldn't-
conventional statistics so go against what everyone says about their performance.
Yeah, the
Larger
stats
sample
ain't
size,
great,
too. Played a lot
but
more than Goff.
he looked really good. 3.71 yards in the attempt, you'd see that and be like, damn, he must have sucked. But no, he looked really, really good. That third throw of the game where he stepped up in the pocket, avoiding pressure, and fired one to Ertz. That was a big time throw. That was legit.
But I thought Wentz was pretty impressive. I mean, on paper it doesn't look good, but he had no O-line help. He handled pressure extremely well. I was very surprised that he was, he showed no fear in the pocket. He wasn't afraid to step up with the pocket closing in on him. And he made some. I mean, he had some throws that were pretty inaccurate, but they were still smart decisions, and he'll just get better with time.
His
Yeah, he had a
interception
high
was
release
worse than
point, but he
Goff's,
can
that's for sure.
His what?
His
Interception.
interception was way worse than Goff's was.
That's true.
Yeah, although I think I agree with Billy, his decision making was generally good, which is
It was.
Exactly.
it's especially important because now he's hurt. He's not going to be able to get NFL game practice, which is the NFL could really use a minor league, to be honest, to develop quarterbacks. That's a whole other conversation. But for someone like Wentz, he's not going to be able to play most of the preseason now. He's not going to get a ton of reps. You can work on your accuracy in the offseason or at practice or during the week. Decision making is the thing that's harder to improve if you're not playing. So that's why it's more promising he was good at that.
Exactly.
The
He
one
showed
play
that
that stuck out to me was when the snap went, I believe it was low, it rolled past him, and he
Yeah.
ran back and got it, and instead of frantically running with the ball, he calmly rolled out and tossed it out of bounds. I thought that was,
Yeah, he showed.
Yeah, a lot of
as
rookie
simple as that
QBs.
is, I thought that was a great play.
A lot of rookie QBs would try to force something there, and he just calmly just chucked it. No, it was really good.
He seemed much more comfortable than I'd expect from somebody just coming into the league, first game, first NFL appearance, and he seemed really comfortable. Feared it. There was no fear for the pressure. He was just there was no plays where I was like, what is he thinking? He seemed like he really knew what he was doing. He looked comfortable.
Sometimes at rookies you do get that a what the hell kind of play.
Exactly.
Where was that going? Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Especially from a guy like Wentz, for a number 2 pick, he's generally been expected to be more behind than other number 2 picks. He was more viewed as a project even when he was drafted. So the fact that he's not really playing like that has to be viewed as a win.
If you want me to be honest, all the rookie quarterbacks that I watched this past weekend, they all looked really smart. They made good decisions. I was impressed with all of them.
I agree.
That's including Cardell Jones and Boykin. I thought they all looked really good.
The NFL is kind of overdue for, I think, a really good quarterback class. Because if you look around the NFL, a lot of the best quarterbacks are over 30 by now.
Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Brady. Yeah, you're right.
Even guys like Matt Ryan are on the wrong side.
And Flacco's not elite, but
Apparently, one of the most searched questions on Google in Maryland is Joe Flacco elite. So
Kyle,
The
wasn't there
answer
that
is
Joe
no.
Flacco elite meter, right, on the one website? Was it on Grantland?
I think yes,
Yes.
the Joe Flacco elite meter. That needs to exist again. Maybe when we do our podcast during the season, we can add that in. So everyone needs to come back at least for that.
I can't wait for our podcast before week 1. Oh my god, that's gonna be a fun one.
That'll be a fun.
Yeah,
During the
because-
season, we will do predictions also for the games on Sunday. We'll do the Thursday night game and before on a Wednesday, but You guys want to do it on Saturdays? You guys want to maybe do a quick podcast on our predictions? We'll look at the spread and pick the game.
Right, but mostly we'll talk about Joe Flacco's eliteness from the previous.
Definitely. We have to have full segments every week.
What's more important than how elite Joe Flacco is?
Nothing.
I don't think there's anything more important to the world. Absolutely nothing. And I don't say that sarcastically. It sounds like it, but I don't. Truly. Are we good on Wentz?
Yeah, we should move on to Dak Prescott, if you ask me.
You want to? Okay, go for it.
You want me to start? All right.
Yeah, he's your boy, Bill. Go ahead.
My boy. I didn't like him coming out of college at all. I thought it was just I thought he was gonna be one of those typical looks good in college kind of guys. Comes here, bums, is out of the league in 3 years. But I mean, what was it? 10 for 12. Both incompletions dropped. That includes his first throw of the game. But right after that, he threw a pass to Cole Beasley across the middle. That was pretty beautiful. He knows he's getting familiar. He knows he saw Dez Bryant in single coverage. You're not going to not throw Dez Bryant in single coverage. He knew that. Got the ball to him. Dez made a great catch. And then his touchdown to Terrence Williams was beautiful.
That
beautiful
throw
pass
was gorgeous. Oh, my God.
Put it in a spot that only Williams could get it. Nobody else was touching that ball. That throw was beautiful.
If that kept him in the whole game, he would have thrown for like 500 yards.
Easily.
He was
not easily, but
no. But he was
easily 500 yards.
Not easily.
Dude, he was shredding.
I was surprised, impressed, and I know Jerry Jones is loving it. So.
You know what? Like the Cowboys, I hate the Cowboys. I'm going to come out and say it clearly because I'm an Eagles fan. But last year, if Romo was healthy, nobody can argue that they would not have gone 4-12. Like they would have been much better than 4-12. Clearly.
I think Romo would have easily thrown for 500 yards a game. To be honest,
easily.
I think
him and Bryant being hurt last year just like destroyed them. I think the Cowboys have a chance to be good this year. What worries me about them is their pass rush. Not to get off the topic of the young quarterbacks, but
their defense is like all suspended. But yeah, that is a slightly different issue. Dak Prescott, I think I don't know. It's just such not a quarterback name. I can't picture him as a good quarterback because of it. Dak Prescott does not sound like a good quarterback to me. He was brilliant in college. I think he was 2-time All-SEC.
He holds some records. I know that.
That's pretty impressive. And now, obviously, college production doesn't always translate to the pros, but SEC defenses have become more and more not like the NFL, but at least stylistically. He's the type of guy that I could see him being a starter caliber quarterback. I don't see him ever being an elite quarterback. I don't think he has that kind of potential, but
all based off his name.
No,
I was kidding.
Yes, but based off his name, I think he's going to be out of the league in 2 years and switch to receiver.
Based off his name, he
seems not a quarterback name.
Based off his name, he sounds like a really great high school quarterback who goes to college, flunks out, life peaked in high school. Just that type of dude.
I just realized with what I was saying, I never got to the point I was supposed to make.
Right,
I just said something random about the Cowboys. The point I was trying to make was Romo got hurt last year and they didn't have a backup. They didn't have a good backup, and that killed them. Obviously, we're going to find out at some point. Romo's not playing 16 games, but if Prescott can be serviceable during whenever Romo gets hurt, that's big for the Cowboys.
That's huge.
Because
Romo
if you
might
look
be
at
the
the
most
record when Romo's in versus when Romo's out, it's incredible how much he affects the game.
Romo might be the most underrated player in football. I think he really is. Uh-huh. Romo is elite. He's very elite on the Joe Flacco elite meter.
If he can stay healthy.
People just they hate him, especially around here. But no, Romo's awesome. As an Eagles fan, I think Romo is awesome.
I don't love Romo, but as a player, he's all right. He's just he's always hurt, man.
He's got a pretty good quarterback name.
He does.
I hate
your names.
I hate you, bro.
Let's get back to it.
Let's talk a little bit about Marcel Darius. Are there any more young quarterbacks who are
Paxton Lynch?
We got to talk about Paxton. Yeah.
Paxton Lynch was my
guy. I didn't know
out of college.
Paxton Lynch. Jake, go for it.
I just thought he looked really good. If he keeps playing like that in the preseason, you're going to hear the Broncos fans calling for him over Sanchez. He's not going to start over Sanchez, but he looked really good. And honestly, I would love to see him get some games at the end of the year, but we know it's not going to happen.
Well, Denver's going to have I think Denver's going to have a decent record again. I doubt he's going to get playing time.
Yeah, already.
Wentz and Goff have so much better of a chance of catching playing time at some point this year.
Sanchez might already be better than Osweiler, and then definitely the injured Peyton. So like,
I agree with you. I don't like Brock Osweiler that much, but that's another.
I don't
either.
either. I think he's
Again, for another day.
Yes.
If you get benched for the corpse of Peyton Manning, you're probably not too great at football.
Yeah, no.
So that's no. Paxton Lynch, I think he could see playing time more probably than you guys think, because I'm not sure Sanchez will stay healthy for the entire year. I have major doubts about the Broncos' offensive line. And Sanchez has had, maybe not injury prone, but he's had a few ailments, especially like a very severe shoulder injury at one point. I think you'll see Paxton Lynch at some point. And also, Sanchez is streaky enough that he'll probably get benched in some games, even if it's not a permanent benching.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a decent quarterback.
He looked good the other night. He's just
right.
His arm
looked
strength.
Really good for the Eagles in a few games in 2014, and then we saw what happened in Green Bay. We saw what happened in Washington. You know what I mean? We saw what happened in Detroit last year. We saw what happened against Tampa. Like, as Kyle said, he is very streaky.
Jets fans saw what happened for 5 years. You know, there's things you talk about.
First 2 years,
he beat the Bengals in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's not saying much.
Everybody not saying much at all.
Who beat the Bengals in the playoffs last year? Ben Roethlisberger without a shoulder?
Okay, chill.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
don't bring that up.
I don't want to hear
bring that up.
Backup quarterback.
I watched the game with him. I've never seen a more sad human being in my entire life than Bill that night.
It was upsetting. It was really...
In life of a Bengals fan, I would think you would expect it. Anyway.
Back to Paxton Lynch to eliminate that game from my mind. I personally thought he looked pretty good. He showed some mobility when he had a first down run. Yeah, I want to see more of him. I'm hoping we get to see more throughout the preseason. Like, I hope he gets longer game time. But from what I saw, I thought 7 for 8. There's no completion. So
6 for 7, I think, right?
6 or 7. You're right.
With that,
you're
yeah.
Right.
And if there was ever a team to join, like as a rookie quarterback, it's Denver, because their defense is still going to be phenomenal.
They had They shut out the Bears in a preseason game.
The Bears are the Bears.
The Bears are the Bears.
Offense last year wasn't bad.
I mean, they barely played Cutler at all. And I don't think Langford played much either. So, like, outside that, they're not great.
By the way, Billy, we don't really need to go over Boykin, I don't think.
I just
want
to mention that he's an unexpected person to mention. He played pretty well. So, and the Hail Mary.
That Hail Mary was pretty sweet, though.
It was epic.
Sweet.
And if there's anything that predicts the future of quarterbacks, it's how well Hail Marys get completed. That's true. That's why Doug Flutie is the best NFL quarterback in history. Are we gonna do a little Marcel Darius?
We could talk about
sure.
Darius, yeah.
We could touch on
and then we'll get into some fun random things. I think we each got something we're gonna be bringing up. Maybe Billy will just rant about naval Wi-Fi. Who knows? Stay tuned for that. Of course, very exciting. Marcel Darius and suspensions in general. Any takers?
Bills can't catch a break.
Yeah, Reggie Ragland tore his ACL. Now Darius is out for 4 games. I can't be surprised. It's the Bills. Nothing ever good happens to them. At least since I've been watching football. I've been 19 years old, going on 20. Never seen them make the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say 1999.
1999. It was the Music City Miracle the last time they made the playoffs.
So did he fail his drug test or did he skip it?
Because
I've heard different things.
I've heard both.
Either way, he's suspended for 4 games, and they're going to.
Because Le'Veon skipped his, right?
Around thing.
Yeah.
So,
I heard he skipped multiple. I heard he missed more than 1.
He's appealing it, but I doubt he'll win.
No, Lane Johnson's not going to win his either. And
but that's a little different. That's a different situation.
I just want to say, in the doping world, a skip test is viewed as a failed test for a reason.
Yeah, no, because but I think it's pot related. I mean,
you don't usually skip a drug test unless you know you're going to fail the drug.
Yeah, it just shows that like the pot rules in the league are stupid. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you're clean, why would you skip it? It doesn't make sense. You have
exactly.
Nothing to hide. You only skip it if you have something to hide. That's why the repercussions for skipping are the same as failing. Because if you skip it, you are probably going to fail.
It's just ridiculous that 4 games, or it's just smoking pot gets you 4 games when
I think 1 or 2 would be a lot more reasonable than a 4th of the year.
Yeah, but then multiple offenses, I think that.
Well, Josh Gordon, I mean, he's just an idiot. So Josh
Gordon, you can't
justify.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
I mean, anyone preaches about is I agree with it. Weed's not addictive, but If it's not addictive, stop smoking it. You're making millions of dollars. You're playing for wide receiver for the great Cleveland Browns.
By the same logic, like, it doesn't really. There's no evidence it hurts players in the NFL. The fact that the NFL tests for it in the first place is ridiculous.
Well, it still is illegal. Like in most places, it is illegal. So you can't.
Yes, and if the NFL were running a courtroom, I would totally understand why they tested for it. On the other hand,
Yeah, they're
They're
not.
It shows up on the same test as like for like PEDs, doesn't it? Like don't they all doesn't show up or no?
I'm not sure how a drug tests work. They can test for different things. I know that.
I think it does, but like the NBA just doesn't suspend for it, and like it's fine. I don't.
The NBA doesn't.
No, they don't. The NBA has a better players' union. That's why they have more power.
They don't have to deal with Goodell's fascistic regime.
That does help when you can.
I honestly hate Roger Goodell. He is just terrible.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't think the NFL like somebody hacked like the page and tweeted that he died, and like people were like cheering it on in the comments.
That's kind of messed up, but like
that's a little extreme.
I will say at this podcast we do not endorse any types of murders.
Definitely
I want to
not.
make that absolutely clear.
maybe Jake, but not me.
Right, possibly Jake.
How do we deal with Roger Goodell? The Second Amendment people, right? Paraphrase Donald Trump.
Maybe they have their own ways. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so not actually endorsing that. Okay, good. Just want to make that clear for legal reasons in case anyone does that. Don't, please.
I mean, Jason just accused me of supporting murder. I mean, that goes right up with Chris, like, accusing me of being a crack dealer. So I'm already screwed.
Yeah, we don't have any that we know of felons on this podcast. But
Definitely do felons.
okay, let's move on. I think we're done that topic. Sorry, Jason. I think we're pretty near the end of the podcast, right? What we like to do at the end of our podcast is do like a little whip around. So each person tells us something from the previous week in season. Absolutely will be NFL related in the summer. Might be a fun sports story or a fun NFL story that's on their mind that's just worth sharing. 30 seconds maybe each, 40 seconds each. Who wants to go first with theirs?
Kyle, why don't you take it first?
I vote you, Kyle.
You want me to go first? Okay, I want to talk about track cycling. Track cycle in the Olympics is absolutely crazy. They go up these tiny little boards on the side for at incredibly high speeds and ride right next to each other, and they literally tape themselves to the bike so that if they fall, they can't even get off the bike. It's the sport that I'm most certain that if I participated in, I would die. It's like Olympic speed skating, only on a bike on a hardwood track.
I've never even heard of it.
It is absolutely insane. That's
we started this podcast talking about the Eagles trading for Dorial Green-Beckham, and now we're here.
Jason, what are you going to go for?
You gotta make it fun.
Do you want me to go next? I'll go next.
Go for it.
All right, I was going to talk about how Mike Mularkey is calling the Titans' rushing attack an exotic rushing attack. Instead of how they have exotic passing attacks where teams throw the ball over the field, he's calling their rushing attack an exotic rushing attack.
I mean, maybe we'll just see Murray in really skimpy outfits throughout the course of the year, like an exotic dancer.
God, I hope not.
What's the rationale, Jason?
That's a good question. Maybe we can get Greg Sesko on here, my favorite Titans fan, to tell us the scoop.
Because I'm actually pretty certain DeMarco Murray's the least exotic running back in the NFL. He's pretty good.
And Derrick Henry and Antonio Andrews, he's literally the most unexotic running back in the NFL. He just falls forward for 3 yards.
Yo, maybe for Mike Mularkey, that's groundbreaking.
Dude, he is the most old school head coach in football, and nobody can argue it. So he likes his running backs, but
to be fair though, and you're gonna absolutely kill me for saying this, he has a name that fits being an old school head coach.
He got it. I hate
you. You and your damn names, Kyle.
Okay, Billy, what's your interesting story?
Man, my life's pretty boring, but I am loving these Usain Bolt memes on social media. It's hilarious.
Okay, there we go. Jake, let's get something a little bit better to finish.
I will say that.
What was that, Bill? Are you good?
Jake, finish us off.
Right.
I think we're about done.
I don't understand. Well, first of all, I just want to, wish Tim Tebow luck on his prospective baseball career. Rooting for him.
Man.
But Second of all, why do LA people go to football games? It was like $80 the park, like $50 to $100 depending on what lot. That is insane. That was probably more than some of the tickets.
Definitely more than some.
Kyle, your face right now just looks really, like, I don't know.
It's the face of someone who would not go to a Rams game
Exactly.
if I lived in LA.
I could go to like 3 like Phillies games for the cost of just a park at the
I
Rams.
wouldn't go to a Rams game if it was $10.
That's true.
They should pay me to get in.
No, I think they'll be exciting. I think the Rams are going to be good. I'm on the Jeff Fisher Hard Knocks bandwagon. But anyway, I think that is it for the first totally discombobulated and disoriented JBK and J Podcast. In the future, we may be slightly more organized, although we wouldn't want to lose the brilliant personalities we have on display. Anyway, if you're still listening, make sure you subscribe on Twitter. Jason, Twitter handle?
Follow on Twitter at JBK J Podcast on Twitter.
And then also, if you could subscribe to us on SoundCloud and YouTube, you can get any podcast of ours anytime. It'll be sent right to you, which really, clearly, after listening to this, will be what you want. So thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you next time. And that's it.
Peace.